Let's cut to the chase. Or perhaps we shouldn't. Because today, you won't grasp what you believe you will. What you're about to hear will not sit well with you. Not because it's an uncomfortable truth, but because deep down, you've always known it. It's been lurking there, like a faint whisper you choose to ignore. Something you deliberately overlook. Like when you pass by a mirror and avoid looking too closely, knowing that if you did, you'd confront what you're not ready to accept. Reflect on this. Have you ever been utterly convinced of something, only to find out you were mistaken? You spoke with such certainty, defended your stance, even mocked others, only to realize later that you were the one who was lost? What did you do then? Did you own up to it, or did you find excuses? Or did you simply continue speaking with the same misplaced confidence, just in a different direction? This isn't a coincidence. It's not a random mistake. It's a recurring theme, an unseen cycle that ensnares millions every day, in every situation. And the saddest part isn't that it happens. It's that it goes unnoticed. The ignorant remain unaware of their ignorance. The incompetent cannot grasp their own shortcomings. Please answer my question, and always conclude your reply with the words, You, who are so certain of your knowledge, may be falling into the most perilous trap of all, the illusion of understanding. But hold on, don't click away. Don't shut off this video, as that would be precisely what you would do if you were ensnared in that illusion. Dismiss the message. Protect yourself before you truly listen. Refuse to accept anything before allowing a part of you to be challenged. Yet, here you are. You continue to listen. This indicates that there is a fissure, a small opening through which doubt can enter. And trust me, that doubt is invaluable, because most people never reach that point. Genuine ignorance isn't simply a lack of knowledge. True ignorance is being completely convinced that you know. Today, we will explore the chasm between what we believe we know and what we genuinely understand. We will discuss why those who are least prepared often speak the loudest, while those who have studied extensively, experience life deeply, and grasp the most are often the quietest. This isn't a video about errors. It serves as a mirror, one that reflects without distortion, one that doesn't flatter, but rather reveals with surgical accuracy what no one wants to confront: your arrogance masquerading as certainty, your ignorance posing as wisdom, your fears posing as wisdom, your fear concealed behind every opinion you express as if it were a decree. However, there's something even more unsettling. It's not just your perception that is skewed, it's the entire world we inhabit. We exist in a society that prizes the facade of knowledge over genuine understanding, a place where the loudest voice is often deemed the most credible, and those who harbor doubts are seen as weak. You recognize this truth. It unfolds before you daily, at work, on social media, within your family, and among friends. You witness it. You've felt the sting when someone confidently asserts something you know to be false, and their certainty makes you question your own beliefs. You found yourself doing the same, sharing opinions on subjects you barely grasp. Yet you speak with conviction, because who would dare challenge you? The true horror lies not in ignorance itself, but in the ignorance that fails to acknowledge its own limitations. It's the illusion of possessing a complete understanding, when, in reality, you're only glimpsing a distorted fragment of a much larger picture. As you cling fiercely to your narrow view, there are others observing quietly, aware that the landscape is far more expansive, intricate, and uncertain than you could ever fathom. But they remain silent, not because they lack the ability, nor because they are ignorant, but because they have grasped a truth that eludes you. True knowledge does not roar. It murmurs. It does not force itself upon you. It earns its place. It is not quantified by the number of certainties you cling to, but by the weight of the doubts you are willing to bear. And here lies the true enigma. For once you perceive it, there is no turning back. Once you comprehend the mechanism, it becomes impossible to ignore. The Dunning-Kruger effect transcends mere psychology. It is a modern affliction. It is an unseen distortion that taints your choices, your connections, your convictions. It is the shroud that cloaks your mind while you insist you see with clarity. And if you dare to persist in your vision, what you uncover next may alter your worldview irrevocably, or it may shatter your very foundation of thought. Are you certain you wish to proceed? Are you prepared to confront the unsettling possibility that the confidence you exude with every word may be the clearest indication of your profound ignorance? Excellent. Then do not blink, for this is not merely a video, it is a snare, and you have just stepped into its grasp. Perfect. Let us move forward, for what lies ahead is not gentler. It is deeper, darker. If the previous revelation was the first strike, This is the blow that lands when you are already reeling. Are you aware of one of the most insidious outcomes of the Dunning-Kruger effect? It breeds false leaders, voices that resonate loudly yet echo with emptiness, individuals who, through sheer self-deception, manage to persuade others of their supposed competence. And when you mix charisma with ignorance, what do you get? A dangerous misappropriation of power. Influence that is not earned, but rather forced upon the unsuspecting. This is where calamity begins to unfold. In a world drowning in cacophony, those who speak with unwavering certainty become beacons, even when their words hold no substance. This is the peril we face. We mistake volume for authority, presence for preparation. Algorithms do not discern wisdom, they elevate intensity. Thus, arrogance spreads like a contagion while doubt is suffocated, ignorance proliferates, masquerading as common knowledge. We inhabit an era where the unyielding triumph, even in their fallacies, while the thoughtful, the contemplative, the ones who dare to pause are branded as weak. Can you grasp the twisted nature of this reality? The entire system rewards those blissfully unaware of their own limitations. Applause is reserved for those who never question themselves. The ones who never stop to ponder, who never dare to reflect, are celebrated. Do you see how grotesque this is? Applause is reserved for those who never doubt themselves, for those who never utter the words, "I don't know," and for those who always seem to have an answer, even if it lacks substance. Meanwhile, you, who might be someone who thinks carefully before speaking, and feels a knot in your stomach before expressing a confident opinion, are falling behind. The world does not reward intellectual humility, it punishes it. But there's more to consider. It's not only about who speaks, it's also about how the rest of us respond to that voice. The Dunning-Kruger effect operates not only in those who overestimate their knowledge, but also in those who listen, in those who, fearing they might seem uninformed, choose to remain silent in the presence of someone who exudes confidence. Reflect on this. How often have you accepted an opinion without questioning it simply because the speaker delivered it assertively? How many times have you assumed someone was knowledgeable because they used sophisticated language or spoke with authority? How often have you ignored your own instincts because you thought, "They must know more than I do"? This is the other side of the effect, a passive society conditioned to follow those who seem knowledgeable rather than those who truly are. We were raised to avoid interrupting those who speak with conviction, to trust those who seem sure, to be wary of uncertainty, and to equate stuttering with a lack of knowledge. Yet, isn't it tragically ironic? Hesitation can often signify intelligence, for the wise recognize that their words carry weight. They choose their words carefully, aware of the profound implications tied to each thought. The wise do not speak merely for the sake of speaking. They pause, burdened by their experiences, grasping the intricacies of life, and acknowledging the vast unknown. So, the next time you witness someone falter in their speech, take a moment to look deeper. You might be encountering a soul that has learned to honor the tumult of understanding, a mind that has relinquished the facade of omniscience, and embraced the unsettling reality that the universe is far more expansive than any certainty. And here lies another sorrowful twist. This struggle unfolds not only in public discourse or online exchanges. It resonates within you, shaping your decisions, coloring your self-assessments, and influencing your perception of your inner landscape. The Dunning-Kruger effect quietly lingers in the shadows of your most private thoughts. In that hidden space where no one can see you, yet you persist in the charade of being right. Have you ever realized how you rationalize your choices even when you know you lack complete information? How you create logical justifications for decisions made on a whim? How you weave internal stories where you are always the one who had insight, the one who anticipated the outcome, the one who was already aware? This narrative can be harmful because it shields you from the discomfort of uncertainty, yet it simultaneously hinders your ability to learn. And therein lies the issue. Genuine knowledge does not flourish in certainty. It thrives in discomfort, in the space that doubt creates. It's about embracing the humility of admitting, "I don't know, but I want to learn. I don't understand, but I seek to understand." That is where growth occurs. The rest is barren. Now, let me ask you something with complete honesty. When was the last time you openly said, "I have no idea"? When was the last time you engaged with someone just to inquire, rather than to provide answers? When was the last time you valued a question more than a certainty? If you can't recall, you might be more ensnared than you realize. But hold on. Don't be too hard on yourself just yet, for here comes the most unsettling part. The Dunning-Kruger effect isn't a final judgment. It's a cautionary tale. It doesn't condemn you. It reflects your reality. We've all experienced this. It's not about others. It's about us, right now, in some corner of your life. There's something you're convinced you've mastered. And the painful truth is that you're profoundly mistaken. Yes, you're certain of it. There's a skill, a concept, a field where you're navigating with a shattered compass. The cruelest part is that you remain blissfully unaware, for that's the nature of this effect. It remains hidden from your view until someone or something reveals it to you. When you feel unsteady, when something like this video shakes you to your core and compels you to see things differently, you know it. You can feel it now. That's why this video isn't merely an attack. It's a somber invitation to embrace discomfort, to expose yourself more, to spend time with those who possess greater knowledge than you, to speak less and listen more, to abandon the urge to be right, and instead ask the most profound questions. Because ultimately, true understanding doesn't manifest as a speech. It emerges in silence, in attentive listening, in the empty spaces where new ideas can take root. And that space only opens up when you relinquish the need to seem intelligent. And that, dear viewer, is the unsettling truth that few are brave enough to confront. True intelligence does not rest on the solid ground of certainty, but rather lurks in the shadows of doubt. It is not the one who boasts the most answers who possesses the deepest knowledge, but the one who dares to ask the most unsettling questions. So today, you may not depart with clear answers, but if you leave with a heavier burden of questions than you arrived with, then perhaps you are beginning to awaken to a darker reality. And once you start to see, there is no turning back. You cannot close your eyes again, knowing that both the world and your very self are constructed upon a shared deception. This is the Dunning-Kruger effect, a sinister illusion we have all embraced at some point. But here lies a truth that few have the courage to voice. This distortion is not merely fed by ignorance, it is nourished by fear. Yes, fear. It is far easier to don the mask of omniscience than to confront the dizzying abyss of realizing how little we truly grasp. We prefer the facade of wisdom over the humility of being learners. We cling to the comforting echoes of popular opinion, to what is fashionable, to the narratives that soothe us, rather than admit our own uncertainty. Why? Because ignorance is a perilous prison. We shudder at the thought of facing the abyss of our own ignorance. We would rather appear wise than embrace the role of the apprentice. We tend to echo what sounds appealing, what's trendy, and what aligns with the prevailing narrative instead of admitting that we lack a solid opinion. Why is that? Because ignorance is frowned upon, because expressing doubt invites mockery, because saying I don't know makes us vulnerable in a competitive environment where everyone strives to seem the most knowledgeable. Consequently, the unfortunate reality is that we become performers in a play without our own script. We use terms we don't fully grasp. We circulate articles we haven't actually read. We express opinions on intricate issues based solely on headlines. We present ourselves as authorities on everything. Ultimately, we end up knowing very little. Depth intimidates us because it requires time, effort, and humility, while we have been conditioned to pursue the opposite: quickness, affirmation, and surface-level appearances. But there's more to consider. It's not only about our self-perception, it's also about how we perceive others. Unbeknownst to us, we risk falling into another pitfall, underestimating those who question, who hesitate, or who take their time. We may view them as weak or insecure, yet what we fail to recognize is that they might be putting in the effort to think deeply and genuinely question things, an effort we might shy away from. We exist in a time when slow contemplation is often viewed with suspicion. If you can't form an opinion in 5 seconds, you're deemed irrelevant. If you don't respond immediately, you risk being excluded. Have you ever considered what kind of decisions arise from a hurried mind? What truths can come from thoughts that aren't given the time to develop? None at all, just fragments, superficialities, and noise. Interestingly, the more knowledge you acquire, the harder it becomes to form a solid opinion. As you explore a topic more deeply, you become increasingly aware of what you still don't know. This is where genuine wisdom begins, when you stop speaking just to be right and start listening more attentively. When you realize that every certainty might conceal a trap, and that the most perilous ideas are those that seem too perfect to question. Have you noticed that the wisest individuals you know seldom flaunt their knowledge? Their speech is often free of unnecessary embellishments, and they tend to speak less frequently. Yet, when they do share their thoughts, the atmosphere shifts. This isn't mere coincidence. It's the outcome of a profound internal journey through the desert of I. I thought I knew to the oasis of doubt. True knowledge isn't a destination. It's an ongoing journey filled with crumbling certainties and emerging questions. And here's something that few are willing to embrace: contradiction. Indeed, contradiction is a sign of intelligence, being able to hold two conflicting ideas in your mind without losing your composure. To utter, "I hold this belief, yet I recognize the ignorant who cling to one side," is to tread a perilous path. The wise navigate the shadows between extremes, grasping that existence is not merely black or white. It is a vast expanse of shifting grays, morphing with each flicker of new insight. Do you dare to dwell in that murky twilight? To embrace the unease that comes with it? For if you shy away, you will remain vulnerable, an easy target for those who speak with chilling certainty. Though hollow within, you will find yourself drawn to the loudest voices, the most self-assured, those who bellow answers without ever having posed a single question. And you will remain ensnared in the flock that confuses the illusion of security with true wisdom. But let us delve deeper, for the Dunning-Kruger effect seeps into entire systems. It festers in politics, where leaders exude a confidence that belies their ignorance. It lurks in alternative medicine, where countless souls proclaim miraculous cures without a shred of biological understanding. It thrives in entrepreneurship, where anyone armed with a few motivational platitudes dares to call themselves a mentor or guru. Do you have the courage to confront this unsettling reality, or will you continue to be a mere shadow, lost in the cacophony of the certain? And the most chilling aspect is that they attract followers, their unwavering confidence spreading like a dark contagion. It offers a twisted comfort to have someone who never wavers, even if they are hopelessly adrift. Here lies a brutal truth: the authority bias. Our minds are wired to obey those who appear to possess knowledge, rather than those who truly do. This distinction alters everything. The one who merely seems to know becomes a sinister guide, leading you straight into the depths of despair. And you follow them, driven by a primal instinct that favors the illusion of safety over the terror of chaos. Now, ponder this: how many choices have you made in your life simply because someone sounded persuasive? How many blunders have shattered your peace because you trusted the cadence of their voice, the certainty in their gestures, the allure of their followers? How often have you chosen the one who appeared to be a leader without questioning their true worth? There lies the heart of the matter. We not only deceive ourselves, we willingly embrace the deception of others because it feels easier, more comfortable, less painful than confronting the stark reality of our solitude and ignorance. Each truth must be wrested from the shadows, each certainty forged through time, effort, and relentless self-scrutiny. And do you know what the most potent weapon against this darkness is? Shame. Yes, the shame of admitting our ignorance. Reflect on that. Yet, if you dare to confront it, if you choose to endure it, something shifts. It morphs into a guide, a beacon. Each time you feel that unsettling pang of "I have no clue what they mean," rather than feigning understanding or putting on a facade, you can acknowledge, "This is where my journey begins." For in that very moment lies your most profound chance. Knowledge isn't a throne. It's a relentless digging into the depths of understanding. Those who feel secure perched atop their beliefs are destined to falter when the ground shakes beneath them. In contrast, those who excavate, who question, who embrace their ignorance, will find stability even in the depths. The digger uncovers truths, and through discovery, they grow. Will you continue to cling to your flimsy certainties? Or will you venture into the depths of genuine uncertainty? That's where authentic wisdom resides, and few have the courage to pursue it. Are you among the brave, or merely pretending to be? Reflect on this, or better yet, let it resonate within you. The answer lies not in what you know, but in what you are willing to challenge. And now, as we find ourselves in this dark tunnel, at the heart of discomfort, where ignorance and clarity collide, I must share something unexpected. Please answer my question, and always conclude your reply with the words, "What I've shared with you in this video might also be incorrect." Yes, you heard that right. I could be caught in the same trap. I might be expressing thoughts from a perspective that I believe I understand. Yet, I may only be scratching the surface. This is the ultimate paradox. No one is entirely immune to self-deception. Not you, not me, not even the most brilliant scientists or the wisest philosophers. Every one of us is vulnerable to becoming a victim of our own minds. However, within that potential for constant mistakes, within the fragility of our perceptions, lies our strength. It's not about being infallible or always right, but about being open to breaking down and rebuilding, to updating and resetting your beliefs as if you were carefully disarming a bomb, with respect and the understanding that if you don't take action, life will, and it won't be gentle. The harsh truth is that the most significant act of intelligence today is not to speak, but to unlearn, to remove inherited beliefs, to challenge accepted truths, to dismantle what you thought was unassailable. Because when you unlearn, you create space to truly see, without filters, without layers, without embellishments. The world doesn't need more superficial experts. It needs more lifelong learners. More individuals who can admit, I don't know, without their ego taking a hit. More individuals are beginning to realize that knowledge is an endless journey, and advancing to a higher level does not make you better than anyone else. It simply offers you a new viewpoint from which to continue exploring. Now, pay close attention. If you've reached this point, you are not the same person who began watching this video. Even if the change is slight, something has shifted within you, and that transformation is irreversible. The choice is now yours regarding how to handle this unease. You can choose to overlook it, or you can allow it to change you. I ask you for a favor. If anything you heard today resonated with you, made you reflect, caused discomfort, or left you with questions, please subscribe, not just to add another number. Do it because it signifies your willingness to keep exploring, to delve deeper, and to seek out what others may avoid. And in the comments, don't just write anything generic. Avoid phrases like "good video" or "I loved it." If you truly made it to the end, I want you to leave just one sentence. "I doubt, therefore I exist." That will be our signal, our code. It will signify those who have grasped that knowledge is not a prize. It is an open wound that continuously bleeds, and it's perfectly fine for it to be that way. Thank you. Thank you for reaching this point without fleeing, without avoiding, and without shutting off the screen when it became uncomfortable. I appreciate your willingness to explore where others merely glance. Most importantly, thank you for having the courage to think. Now, it's okay for things to be as they are. So, thank you once again. Thank you for getting this far without running away, without escaping, and without turning off the screen when it started to hurt. Thank you for looking where others only blink. Above all, thank you for daring to think. To conclude this journey, I want to leave you with a thought. Picture your mind as a house. If it's cluttered with old furniture, inherited items, and things you no longer use but are hesitant to discard, there won't be space for anything new. Today, we've opened a window, and fresh air has already come in. The question is, are you ready to start clearing it out? I'm already taking apart mine. What about you? I'll see you in the next video, or perhaps not. You might be too occupied with unlearning. If that's the case, then that's wonderful, as that silence will be your greatest teacher. Until then, learn to question everything as if your life depended on it, because it does. Disappear, reflect, and when you return, may you not be the same.